All right, shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom. First and foremost, before we get this epistle started, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to our beloved Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, our beloved Lord and Savior, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha HaKodash. Double honors as always to the apostles, the elders, and the sincere occupant of Great Millstone who rule well, who teach well, who we learn the truth from daily, whether you hear, forbear, and the sincere salutations as always to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, as well as the speckled bird among that number, which are the Hebrew Israelite foreigners scattered among the heathen that look like the heathen. And this is an epistle that I wanted to complete earlier, and it was based on a community post done by the beloved brother GMS Yasharala Banyamyan. Subscribe and be edified. And this particular brother, he posts a lot of really edifying community posts as well. And due to this particular community post right here, it inspired me to do this epistle that I'm about to do. And as you can see, it right here, I'm just going to read it verbatim. It says black massacres, and it has a list of black massacres that was done in, from the 19th to the 20th century. Okay, and it has different states along the East Coast. And obviously, we know who Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man is, but we got a lot of our people that don't care to acknowledge it. So first and foremost, let me go ahead and get the first precept I had, and it's going to be in the book of Genesis chapter 25, and starting at verse 19, and it reads, Isaac's sons. Verse 19, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, now this is a prophecy right here, so it's really important that we keep track of this. 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay? Now that's important to realize. So whichever twin comes out first, that twin is going to serve the younger twin. Okay? So this prophecy is letting you know, Yahweh Bashmi Shai is letting it be known that Rebekah has 2 manner of people in her womb. The seed that Isaac implanted in her, the seeds that Isaac implanted in her womb were 2 manner of people. So by way of the flesh, carnally speaking, biologically speaking, whichever one of these seeds come out, whatever one of these children come out last, that's going to be the stronger one, and that's going to be the one that is master over the older. Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over, like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and he took, and his hand took hold on Esau, Ishashua's heel, and his name was called Yaquab. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew. Ishashua was a cunning hunter and a man of the field, and Yaquab was a plain man dwelling in tents. All right. So that right there doesn't mean, when it says a plain man, it doesn't mean what a person might automatically assume, going to, the regular assumption that he wasn't nothing special about him. Let's just go to that word plain. Referring to Jacob, our father, Yaquab, whose name was later changed to Israel.
Strong's H, 8535. Tom. Tom.
We have the tha and we have the ma. So thumb with a th. Thumb. The last letter of the Hebrew alphabet is the tha. So tha and ma makes the word thumb. Outline of biblical usage: perfect, complete, perfect. One who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, etc. Sound, wholesome, an ordinary person, quiet sort of person. Complete, morally innocent, having integrity, one who is morally and ethically pure. So this is a cut for any dumbass that's out here trying to say that Jacob was he was just like a regular guy and he wasn't anything special about him because he wasn't out in the field like Esau. No, he had no need for that. And that's indicative of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans today, as well as the speckled bird, who are the descendants of Jacob. All right, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. And it's not to say that Jake can't get out in the field and do these things. No, it's simple because you see many of Jake's work construction. You see Jake's work its mechanics and scaffold and construction, all these other type of jobs that involve physical labor. So right here, it just gets into how. Let's get this definition where it says an ordinary, quiet sort of person. You have many of Jakes that aren't as mouthy as other people, that are to themselves, so to speak. But if you speak to this person, they open up and you'll be like, man, like you'll be surprised. You'll feel like they didn't switch gears on you. But nah, for real, they always like that. They just don't have anything to prove. Jake is really secure in who they are. All right, because we get that from our forefather. We do what we mind the business that pays us. We do what pertains unto us. We don't meddle in other people's affairs. The Edomites are not so. That's why you have that stereotype when it comes to the Edomite women called Karens. That's and you even have male Edomite Karens as well. Esau just can't help but stay in your business. But the point is, that's that word plain. This is why you have to get into the Hebrew, you have to get into the Greek. Even though the King James Version to this day remains the most accurate English version of the Bible, it's still English. It's still not the holy language. So you have to get into the Hebrew. And if it's New Testament, you have to get into the Greek. All right? As well as the Hebrew. Okay, now what do I have? Verse 28, and Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Verse 30, and Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom, Adawam, which in Hebrew, Lashwan Kodash, means red. All right, not Adam, not Adama, like our forefather Adam, who was in the garden. It's not the same because, some bug out Edomite or some bug out Christian will try to say, oh, well, he's red just like Adam. So no. Two different words. Adama was Adam's name, which means from the ground. And as the Lord says, he formed man from the dust of the ground. And the richest part of soil is always darker, like dark brown and black soil, stuff like that. And when you get the word Adawam, okay, it's even spelled differently. Adawam, that's where you get the word Edom from. Adawam means red. Adama means ground. So Adama is Adam's name. Adawam is the name of the descendants of Esau. Adawam is how you say Edom in the Lashwan Kodash. Okay. Verse 31, and Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his brother, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drank, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. All right, so a precept that I wanted to give right here real quick was how, if you notice, in our true customs as biblical Hebrew Israelites, fasting is a normal part of our culture. All right, it puts your flesh under subjection. All right, it also has other physical benefits for it. So like it also has other physical benefits to it, such as it gets rid of cravings and it lets you see how long the human body really can go without these things. But Esau, he's an impulsive individual. You know, he's that fast food guy. He just can't wait. He's like hungry now while waiting. That's how he ended up selling his birthright. Salakia. Now let me get Genesis chapter 26. Now I'm gonna start Genesis chapter 26, and yeah, I'm gonna just get verse 34, and it reads, and Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bashemath the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and Rebekah. Okay, so Esau married two Canaanite women, all right, of the tribe of the Hittites. And they basically were stressful to Isaac and Rebekah. Let me read it again in the NLT so I can give clarity. Verse 34, at the age of 40, Esau married two Hittite wives, Judith and Beri. Judith the daughter of Beri and Bashemath the daughter of Elon. But Esau's wives made life miserable for Isaac and Rebekah. Okay, so keep this in mind before you try to have pity on Esau. He's just been a fuck up since day one. Like, he just does dumb crap. Verse 27. Genesis chapter 27, starting at verse 1, and it reads, and it came to pass, when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, I am here. And he said, behold, now I am old, I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat, and bless thee before Yahweh, before my death. Now, therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and shall seem to him, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and not a blessing. And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here I am. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because Yahweh Elohiah brought it to me. Okay. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether it's like it. Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, the voice is Jacob's, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he said, art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank. And one thing I found interesting about this was that Isaac, in his old age, his eyesight, his vision was it declined. And also, we have many precepts getting into the spirit versus the flesh. All right, we understand that Isaac's eyes were blinded, and Jacob had a disguise on that would have made him, you know, a disguise on that would have made him feel like Esau, because he had, hairy, he put the hair of goats on, make it seem like he was Esau, because Esau was hairy, and so forth and so on. But then once again, I just find it interesting because Isaac, he preferred Esau over Jacob, but in the spirit, Yahweh preferred Jacob over Esau, as well as Rebekah preferred Jacob over Esau. And it just goes to show that ultimately the will of Yahweh Bashmi Shai, it can't be altered. All right, his will be done before all things. And also, to show you the spirit, Isaac preferring Esau didn't stop anything, because Yahweh Bashmi Shai wasn't with Esau, he was with Jacob. And that's how this all went down. All right, so verse 26. And his father Isaac said unto him, come near now and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh hath blessed. Therefore the Most High give thee, therefore Yahweh give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. So that was Jacob's blessing. Jacob's blessing was, as you see, the dew of heaven, fatness of the earth, plenty of corn and wine. And Isaac also said, let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be everyone that blesseth thee. Nothing about that said Jacob would have to, do too much of anything. It's just instinctive. Jake is a natural born ruler, Now let's get into Esau. Verse 30. And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise, and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac his father said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn, Esau. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, where is he that taketh, where is he that hath taken venison, and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, And behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? Now I'm going to stop right there. The beloved Elder Malcolm of the GMS Chicago camp, he made the point when I was watching his epistle yesterday, that right here, Esau, he had already bore false witness against Jacob. Because when it came to the birthright, we just read in Genesis the 25th chapter towards the last few verses that Esau despised his birthright and he sold it to Jacob for pottage of lentils. All right. And even before that, we got the prophecy in verse 25 where the Lord told Isaac and Rebekah, the elder Esau shall serve the younger Jacob. And this is how Yahweh Bashmiel Shai had it play out. Just because he can do that. He can do whatever he wants to do. He did it for the sake of, that's how he wanted to do it. He did it for the sake of showing you that it's not the flesh, it's about the election of grace. All right? Because under these ancient customs, the firstborn son usually gets the biggest inheritance. He gets a double portion of what the father has. But even though Esau was the firstborn of the flesh, Jacob was the firstborn of the spirit. And that's the one Yahweh Bashmiel Shai was dealing with. Okay? Now, verse 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth in the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right. Now you can see right here, Esau's blessing came off like a dollar store version of Jacob's blessing, because it sounds similar, but the difference is it says Esau shall live by the sword. Okay. And if you notice, Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of, he basically has the dominion over the earth by the sword, which is, going to war with these nations, deleting people, lying, theft, murder, all this type of stuff, But Jacob's case isn't really, Jacob is not the same. Even when Jacob's in captivity, Jacob has natural born leader qualities, like you may have it on certain jobs at the plantation, Jake may be in a lower position, but Jake may have more wherewithal than their superiors on the job at times, who more than likely are Edomites. All right. And then, just other aspects of Jake that shows that Jake is a natural born leader. Like Jake handles more adversity than an Edomite would. Okay. And Jake doesn't complain about the same level of things. It takes a lot to get Jake to that point when they're moving in righteousness, as opposed to an Edomite. All right. Now, verse 40. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand, and I will slay my brother Jacob. And that's all I wanted to get right there for that point. And right here, Esau never slew Jacob. Okay. But this intent, this spirit Esau had towards Jacob because of the hatred of feeling, you on that think and feel shit, like the beloved Elder Malcolm said. That whole spirit of feeling like Jacob stole your birthright when you sold it to him, and when the birthright and the blessing was never yours, because Jacob receiving it fulfilled prophecy. How it went down doesn't matter, because Yahweh Bashmiel Shai sanctioned it. But Esau feeling this way manifested in his descendants having a natural hatred towards Jacob, towards the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and speckled bird, the descendants of Jacob. Okay? Because spirits come back every third and fourth generation through the lineage of the father's line, because lineage is based off of who your father is. And that aside, okay, the spirit of a nation is tied to the progenitor. So the reason why, you see Israelites are always dominating in every industry they get into, they just naturally have that salt, that flavor about them. And, all the other blessings that come with us, that goes back to the blessing that, it just goes back to to this. Okay, this is more so about the blessings that come with dominion and stuff like that. But Yahweh Bashmi Shas made the Israelites the salt of the earth. Now, if you get into the Edomites, okay, there's certain things they do that just indicates them as the Edomites, like eating medium rare meat. You know, it was a post that one of the brothers put up, but this damn Edomite woman was doing some weird stuff with raw meat, and then they had this other stuff. It's just like it's always some raw meat with them, and then, like hunting venison. Esau likes to go out in the field with a rifle and shoot deer and stuff like that. Back in the day, it was a bow and arrow, but same spirit. Only thing that changes is the outward appearance of what it is. But point being, it's obvious. Now let me get back to this right here. Okay, when I looked up one of these little massacres right here, I got this one that was in Washington, D.C. It says, Washington Race Riot of 1919. The Washington Race Riot of 1919 was civil unrest in Washington, D.C. from July 19th from July 19th, 1919 to July 24th, 1919. A lot of 19s. Starting July 19th, white men, many in the armed forces, responded to a rumored arrest of a black man for the rape of a white woman, with 4 days of mob violence against black individuals and businesses. They rioted randomly, beat black people on the street, and pulled others off streetcars for attacks. When police refused to intervene, the black population fought back. The city closed saloons and theaters to discourage assemblies. Meanwhile, the 4 white-owned local papers, including the Washington Post, fanned the violence with incendiary headlines and calling in at least one instance for mobilization of a quote-unquote cleanup operation. And here's the news article right here. Okay. Okay. The date, we already got into that. Location, Washington, D.C. in the United States. And for those who don't know, which you should know, Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. So at this point, it's literally the capital of modern day Babylon. Washington, D.C. is the capital of Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots. So, deletions, 15 to 40 deletions. Non-fatal injuries, 150. Right here it says soldiers in a truck on the way to the Washington race riot. 4 days after the police inaction, President Woodrow Wilson ordered 2,000 federal troops to regain control in the nation's capital, but a violent summer rainstorm had more of a dampening effect. The violence ended. 15 people had been deleted, at least 10 quote-unquote white people, including 2 police officers, and around 5 so-called black people. What else does it say? 50 people were seriously wounded and another 100 less severely wounded. It was one of the few times in the 20th century riots of so-called whites against so-called blacks that so-called white fatalities outnumbered those of so-called black people. The unrest was also one of the Red Summer riots in America. Here we go back to that red, and that was my point right there. Okay, so let me jump over here to the other article I pulled up, Red Summer. Okay, Red Summer was a period in mid-1919 during which quote-unquote white supremacist terrorism, Slovakia, quote-unquote white supremacist terrorism, and racial riots occurred in more than 36 cities across the United States, and in one rural county in Arkansas. The term Red Summer was coined by civil rights activist and author James Weldon Johnson, who had been employed as a field secretary by the NCAACP, or the NAACP, since 1916. In 1919, he organized peaceful protests against the racial violence. Of course he did. Okay, but once again, red. Red summer. Now, why the hell would that be the case during so-called white people doing something? Let's get into a few of these little these illustrations. Well, not illustrations, but pictures of the news articles. So you see the Edomite devils doing their thing right there. Okay. See them walking up on Jake right there. You see the slander right here. And here's one of those famous pictures that the Akim talk about, where it was common to have these fucking Edomite cave beasts, pieces of filth, gathering around a bonfire burning a Jake up. You can see right here. Alright. Jake being burnt, these Edomite cornballs standing all proud. Georgia Edomites burn 5 Jake churches. In Macon, Georgia, May 30th, following a minor racial clash at Dennis Station, a small community in Putnam County, Georgia, a band of so-called white men set fire to 5 Negro churches, 2 schools, and 1 lodge building in different sections of the county. The trouble was the refusal, I'm guessing that's refusal of a merchant to sell a Negro a bottle of soda water. A mass meeting late today, $1,100 reward for the arrest of members of the band was raised by leading so-called white people, and the state was requested to duplicate the offer. And look at this right here. So, soldiers and with a black resident during okay. Date 1919, 105 years ago. Keep telling Jake that it wasn't too long ago that Esau was on this shit, so you have to be fucking stupid to think that he's your friend all of a sudden because you got a fucking job, or because whatever Jake may think. Jake is just fucking stupid. But anyway, the point is, this is why you got to stick to the scriptures. This is why you have to return back to your How About Shmi Al Shah, so you can have that unction from the Holy One to know all things. All right. So the location was the United States, and the target, surprise, surprise, so-called African Americans, which would be Judah, the so-called Negroes, the tribe of Judah. Participants, mostly so-called white mobs attacking so-called African Americans. So mostly Edomites attacking so-called Judites. Outcome, so-called white supremacist terrorist attack, riots, and deletions against so-called black Americans across the United States. Deletions, hundreds. Inquest, Haynes Report, Lusk Committee. Outline, Slovakia. In most instances, attacks consisted of so-called white on so-called black violence. Numerous so-called African Americans fought back, notably in the Chicago and D.C. race riots. Okay? Let me read that one more time. Numerous so-called African Americans fought back, notably in the Chicago and Washington, D.C. race riots, which resulted in 38 and 15 deaths, respectively. 38 and 15 deletions, respectively. Slovakia. Along with even more injuries and extensive property damage in Chicago. Still, the highest number of fatalities occurred in the rural area around Elaine, Arkansas, where an estimated 100 to 240 so-called black people and 5 so-called white people were deleted, an event now known as the Elaine Massacre. Okay, the anti-so-called black riots developed from a variety of post-World War I social tensions generally related to the demobilization of both so-called black and so-called white members of the United States Armed Forces following World War One, an economic slump, and increased competition in the job and housing markets between ethnic so-called European and so-called European Americans and so-called African Americans. The time would also be marked by labor unrest, for which certain industrialists use so-called black people as strike breakers, further inflaming the resentment of so-called white workers. So essentially, Esau is a fucking bitch, as always. You know, you'll have Esau try to say, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. But when when your economy's fucked up, the first thing your weak ass thinks to do is try to take it out on Jake. And you was punching down because Jake had everything working against him. You know, this entire Constitution worked against Jake. The police wasn't for Jake, so you could have been a complete lying demon, which you always are, which is why you call it damn devil. All it means is deceiver. You could be a damn deceiver, a devil, and say, oh, Jake did X, Y, Z to me. Well, this so-called Negro did this, such and such to me. And then, you know, he already is in poverty, but next thing you know, you got 10 Edomite fucking British cigarettes ganged up on him and burn them in a bonfire because you feel bad and you just wanted to take it out. And Esau does this shit to this day, man. It's just only slightly reduced because different social norms and how it gets looked down upon and, you know, all that other stuff. But when it was cool, Esau was going balls to the walls. You know? So it's important to keep this in mind, man. Like, Jake has to really understand that this is who you're dealing with. And Lord Yahweh Shai Shai and Jacob Straw, he's going to awaken this ancient spirit that's within the Edomites. When there's nothing, once again, when there's nothing left, when there is no economy, when there's no green turtle, when there's no pubs to go to, there's no baseball games, there's no national stadium to go to, whatever, you know, Esau gonna get back on bullshit. You know? And you got to account for all the different you know, conservative Edomites that moved up here when Trump became president. You know, you got to keep all these things, you know, keep all these things in mind. Like, Jake can't be so caught up in the bullshit that you're not circumspect out here, man. But yeah, I just found it interesting that it was called Red Summer. Okay? Red. And let's get back to these scriptures. Okay? Esau. Blah, 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 blah. Now that's Cap right there. He's not the progenitor of the Arab peoples. The progenitor of the so-called Arabs today would be Ishmael. But this is another one of those stumbling blocks that this damn devil puts up to try to, you know, hide his identity as that fugitive and that vagabond that, you know, the Yahweh Shai is going to destroy. So let me go back to it. Genesis 25, and it gets into how this dickhead got the name Edom. Selling his own birthright. Then he wants to take it out on Jacob because he was stupid and he was carnal. All right.
Strong's H123. Edom.
It's actually Adawam. And, you know, this is one of the ways the blue letter goes off. Outline of biblical usage. Red. Edom, Edomite, Idumean, descendants of Esau, land of Edom, Idumea, land south and southeast of Palestine, which is actually south and southeast of Israel. Okay, so yeah, this is your boy. So for you sellouts, you damn fucking coons like Pastor Dowell and you other dumbass jakes that really don't belong teaching that whether you believe what you're saying or not, yeah, Esau, Edom is indeed the so-called white man. There's even books where these Edomites are snitching on each other, like Arthur Koestler's 13th Tribe, or Who is Esau, Edom, and all these other books tying them to Rome and how Rome has similar architecture to Petra, just like America, Babylon the Great does. It's Esau, not Japhet. All right? There's not one. You can't pull out one scripture proving that Esau's Japhet. And when most of the time these type of jakes open a stupid ass mouth, they just yammering on for I don't know how long, and they don't bring out any precepts line upon line, precept upon precept. And they may bring out one scripture that they twisting, but it doesn't negate prophecy. All right, it doesn't negate all the other precepts. Okay, the Bible has no contradictions, just a bunch of bug outs that don't understand anything. But let me see if I can get the other precept. All right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 5. Okay. And I'm going to start at verse 4, and it reads, no, verse 3. And it reads, My voice shalt thou hear in the morning, O Yahweh. In the morning will I direct my prayer unto thee, and will look up. For thou art not a power that hath pleasure in wickedness, neither shall evil dwell with thee. The foolish shall not stand in thy sight, thou hatest all workers of iniquity. Thou shalt destroy them that speak leasing. Yahweh will abhor the bloody and deceitful man. As for me, I will come into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship toward thy holy temple. Amen. So right here, that bloody man would be Esau. The bloody and deceitful man, that would be Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, who is not white. He's not the color of a cloud, and he's not spiritually pure. He's profane. He's the red Hebrew Edomite. His blood shows forth through his skin. He has no melanin. The red Hebrew Edomite, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, that the Bible speaks of. This isn't something we saying because we fucking don't, because we got a whatever the fuck against Edomites. Me personally, I don't give a damn about Edomites. This is all about doing the work of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. And a brother made a very interesting point, when it was getting to like how one of these other camps was so pressed to have an Edomite kiss their feet. He was saying, look, I don't even want Edomites around me, and even especially in the kingdom, I don't even want Edomites around me. They just happen to be an inheritance. Like, okay, you're there. The water Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua for the blessings, But Edomites, they really don't matter, man. They really base. It took a lot of propaganda and us being removed from our heritage for these Edomites to hit the switcheroo and convince us that we're the savage beasts. But even while they run the whole world, you can watch a video about an Edomite fucking chick talking about how she doesn't even wash her box, how she goes days without showering, and they think that shit's funny. Like the beloved elder from the GMS Hawaii camp, he got into that early on a epistle that he did. I'm just like, man, it's crazy that these signs have always been on our faces, Salakia, even before we came into the truth, and now the truth is making it more apparent. All right, you even get into the Moors, the history of the Moors. The Moors had to teach these damn Edomites how to wash their ass, man. And the Moors that was going off. They was into Islam and stuff. But once again, obvious. Let me get into Deuteronomy 28. I'm gonna try to make this one quick as possible. I'm gonna wrap it up. And it reads. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh Elohim, to observe and to do all of his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket in thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. So yeah, Jake was cursed in the city, all right, because not too long ago, segregation was a thing, all right. Jake was I just pulled it up. It was only 105 years ago. Jake was basically, it was race riots because these dumbass Edomites in a stupid ass system that was failing. Esau's so smart, but he has a system where the currency is always so damn volatile. Like I've never seen. Come on now, like we read accounts about how in the scriptures there was famines in the land and stuff like that. But this dumb devil right here, he's the only idiot that plays with his own economy so bad where the money's volatile. Where the job market, the economic market is all volatile and all over the place. Then when it collapses because he's not a natural born ruler, then he wants to take it out on Jake. Going back to him being envious about that birthright that was never his. All right. Verse 19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Jake could not go in certain places, bro. Like even to this day, there's sundown towns. There's places that are predominantly Edomite where Jake, if they found there, during nighttime, there might be some Edomites that try to lynch him or, delete him in some colorful messed up way. And Edomite's a weirdo, man. Edomite has a habit of, cutting off Jake's rod and, preserving it and all this other type of weird shit. Yeah, how Bosh Me Out Shot gonna destroy these devils, man? Okay. Now, let me see if I can get the other point. It's another precept in here that really drives the point home. Verse 28, and Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. Thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, thou shalt not dwell, so like in thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant the vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Okay, yeah, and then, these Edomites, they also used to, take Jake women, and they'd grape them. Sometimes they'd grape them to deletion, but you got it where, this goes into like how during chattel slavery in the plantation, Jake would marry a wife, but then these Edomites, they'd lay with Jake's wife, which is adultery. It's just fucking wicked, man. And in some of these cases, that's how we got, that's how we got some of these tares amongst the wheat where, you got it where there's somebody that may look like a Jake, but they're Edomite because their lineage goes back to one of these Edomite slave owners. Okay. And how, and right here where it says, Salaki, let me see if I didn't pass it. Right, when it says, and no man shall save thee, because we have revolts here and there, but ultimately we're still slaves to this day because it's the curses of Yahweh Bash Me Out Shah. It's not for a man to deliver us up out of. The deliverance happens when Lord Yahweh Shah comes and cracks these skies open. Okay. Verse 36, Yahweh shall bring thee in thy king, which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve gods. So like there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither Yahweh shall lead thee. Come, because, wood and stone, that's these, it gets into the idols of the old, like all these damn gods and goddesses that aren't really deities. They're they're delusions of an adult mind. All this Buddha, Santa Maria, all this other bull crap. But it also gets into that worship of JC, that false image of the Messiah, which is that pervert Cesare Borgia, that fucking British cigarette Edomite, okay? And, the wood and stone gets into those wood and stone crosses that they had on these little plantation Christianity churches that Jake still worships to this day, the 2/3. And being an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, all of these heathen nations they got this bad stigma about Jake because of the propaganda Esau pushes, that the 2/3 of Jake helps Esau push. On top of that, every single one of these heathen nations has a different way of calling Jake the N-word, all right? So all of these things point to Jacob, the descendants of Jacob being the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today, as well as the speckled bird, which are the Israelite foreigners scattered among the heathen that are like the heathen. Okay. Now let me see. Verse 43. The stranger that is within thy gates shall get up, shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. Okay. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Okay. So, yeah, like this right here lets it be known that like Esau, today, Jake goes to get bank loans from Esau. And yeah, the Edomites, whether you see them or not, the Edomites, primarily these Amalekites, the so-called Jewish people, the head tribe of the Edomites, the ones that are pretending to be us in the Holy Land, they run all of these banks. So Jake goes to these devils to get a damn bank loan, and often, sometimes they don't approve Jake. They make Jake go through all these different hoops, and even if they do approve you, they give you higher interest rates. They charge you usury. Okay? So, yeah, and it's a part of, you being the tail while he's the head. All right, you on the bottom, he's at the top. He's running things. All right. Verse 49. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which regard not the person of old, nor shew favor to the young. And that was the scripture. These were the verses I wanted to get. So this right here, this shows you that Babylon the Great is America. Because what do these daggone proud Edomite Americans pride themselves on? The bald eagle, which is the symbol of America, and the red, white, and blue, and all that other type of crap. All right. And a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Some dude or some woman, I forgot who, some Jake at one point was like, well, if Jacob and Esau were brothers, that mean they would have both spoke the same language. So how didn't? Because by the time Jacob and Esau have gone by many names over the centuries, ever since the fall of Rome. All right. You had Jakes that went off and went by the title of Moors. Some Jakes were Scythians. Some Jakes were Spartans. All right, that was even before the Roman Empire, the Spartans thing. And then you got Jakes that was Vikings. And likewise, the Edomites, they kicked Javin, they kicked Yawan, one of the sons of Japhet, the original Greeks, the melanated Greeks, out of Greece into the islands and stuff. And then the Edomites went under the title of being Greeks under Alexander the Greek. Alexander of Macedon, who basically Hellenized that region. So these Edomites who aren't really Greeks, they took over that region and they started to call themselves Greeks. But many generations later, all right, they became, the British, the French, and all these other names. So by that time, it's been many generations of Esau and Jacob not really having that much consistent close proximity to each other. So yeah, by the time Esau came into, West Africa where Jake was, sojourning in, Jake was sojourning in the land of Ham in the western part. Esau wasn't speaking the same language as us. Esau beat the Hebrew out of us when he got over here. So like when he got us over here. Easy work. Breaking down these precepts. The Wadi Halbashmi Shah. A nation of fierce countenance which regard neither the person of old nor shew favor to the young. Because Esau was a fucking complete demon to our elders, to our children, all that, man. Esau would have an elder working out in the field until they dropped dead. They would have they would feed our babies to alligators, just like the Egyptians did. Okay? Sell our babies to a different plantation, just because they could. Break up whole families, man. They sell a wife to a different plantation, a husband to a different plantation, the children. Esau's a fucking devil, man. The Lord going I don't want you how much Shah Rod the Zah be at that elect number, man. Alright, so let me see. All right. This is the book of Amos, chapter 1, verse 9, and it reads, Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant. Okay? But I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Verse 11, Thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, Adawam, the so-called white man, who's not white, he's the red Hebrew Edomite, these devils. And for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. But I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Basra. Both of these are places in Edom, all right? And Basra is symbolic of the capital of Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, which is also called the daughter of Edom, which is America, which is ran by the Edomites. There we go. Psalm chapter 50, verse 21, and it reads, Salakia. No, let me go up. Psalm chapter 50, verse 16, and it reads, But unto the wicked the Most High saith, What hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant into thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and casteth my words behind thee. Yeah, these Edomites claim to be Christian and all this other stuff, but they don't do nothing Yahweh Shah's word truly says. They push this plantation bullshit Christianity, talk about an immaculate conception, These dumbass Mormons lying about the curse of Ham is having dark skin, dumb motherfucker. Like, the curse of Ham doesn't apply to us. We aren't Hamites, we're Shemites. The curse of Ham fell upon Ham's son Canaan. And the curse said he'd be a servant amongst his brethren. Hewers of wood, drawers of water, basically servants, slaves. Okay? And on top of that, there's a certain penalty that comes with putting your hands on the Lord's anointed, his chosen people. Verse 18, when thou sawest a thief, then thou contendest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. These devils always fucking lying. Verse 20, thou sittest, thou sittest and speakest again against thy brother. Who's Esau's brother? Jacob. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. Because while Jake being hid in Babylon the Great, Esau always lying on Jake. Some way or the other. We know there's wicked Jakes here. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But Esau, whether you're a wicked Jake or not, even when Jake was minding their business, Esau would lie on him. Like that Edomite bitch that lied on Emmett Till. Said he whistled at her, and then he got brutally deleted. Then on her deathbed, or when her son gets messed up, well, I forgot how it happened. But then the bitch wants to say, oh, well, I actually lied on Emmett Till. No shit. And one of the elders and apostles got into an expression recently. If you want to know that an Edomite is lying, this is how you can tell an Edomite's lying. He's fucking talking. He or she. All right. Verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such and one as thyself. Yeah, these Edomites thought that Yahweh Bashmiel Shah was on their side because they was fucking Jacob for so long. Reading on. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. The Lord's going to correct you, dumbass devils. He's going to rebuke you. That's why your country's falling. And he's going to put his people, the Israelites, in order before your eyes. He's going to watch you watch us rise. Come back to our heritage that you thought you beat out of us. But the Lord did that to show you the power was never yours. The only reason you even succeeded in beating it out of us was because the Lord gave you an appointed time to rule. Not because you that Esau, you ain't shit. And your ass going into slavery. Now consider this, ye that forget the Most High, lest I tear you in pieces and there be none to deliver. Okay? That's the point I wanted to give right there, because the rest, it doesn't get it. Esau, he's profane. He's outside the temple. He can't offer any sacrifices unto the Most High, and the Lord's not giving him any mercy of salvation. Okay? Let me see. That right there. Okay, yeah. And let me get this. I'm going to wrap it up. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1. Okay? And you can see the subtext says, Edom will be humbled. Verse 1, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Yeah, because if you check, even in the world, they used to have this expression. Well, not this expression, but they used to talk about it a lot, saying, if you really look at it, they didn't say Edomites, even though they are Edomites. But the so-called white people are actually the minority on the planet. Everybody else, there's some type of, they have some type of swarthiness to their skin, even though skin tone doesn't determine your nation. But let me get into this other point. Those Amalekites, those so-called Jewish people who claim to be us, they claim that, there's not that many of them, which also goes against scripture and lets you know they're not the people, because the scripture says Israel shall be as the sand of the sea. Even while we are in our fallen state, it gets in the precepts letting you know, though Israel be as the sand of the sea, only a remnant shall return. That lets you know that we're a numerous people. Okay? There's a numerous amount of Israelites on the planet right now. They're not only in Babylon, but Babylon is the place where the main deliverance is going to take place. All right? But if you want to get into Amalek with this verse right here, Amalek is despised by everybody, including other Edomites, because of how they deal with people. Verse 3, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks. The Caucasus Mountains. There you go. Mount Seir, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Mountains also represents governments too. And we already established that the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. Job chapter 9, verse 24. The Edomites are running things, and they have this high-minded spirit like, oh yeah, who can make war with, yeah, can't nobody go to war with my military. Yeah, okay. Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, do you need any more proof that this is talking about America? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down. Who said that? Saith the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Verse 6. How art the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Because of the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Al Shah. He's revealing all of these dumbass atrocities that Esau used to do. Red Summer. You basically taking your anger out on Jake that your system is fucking stupid and flawed. And you punching down because you knew Jake had everything working against him. You know Jake didn't have any military. Jake had no police force. You had everything. You know what I'm saying? Weak ass devils. Verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Yeah, because all of these nations that was allied with Esau, they leave them. You know? Turkey, all these different nations, they don't fuck with this devil. He's bad. He's in these heathens' eyes, they like, nah, he bad for business. He bugging out. Verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? Yeah, because you see, they got Biden running the damn country into the damn ground. All right? It's being revealed how much of a joke America really is. There's no more wisdom left in America. Yahweh Bashmi Al Shah, he gave the Edomites a set time to rule, you know, and on a secular level, when it all trickles down from the order Yahweh Bashmi Al Shah set up, it manifested in a way of like, okay, maybe before these nations fell for Esau's bullshit because his whole democracy and all this other shit, it seemed new to them, and it seemed like, all right, we making money. I can just come here from my country, make money here, land with this whore of Babylon, and then go back home, send money to the family. But now this shit's biting them in the ass. The water Yahweh Bashmi Al Shah. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed. And the Temanites are the Edomites that took over the landmass of Germany, and they call themselves Germans today. All right. Because the original Germans come from Ashkenaz, which is also a son of Japheth. So they would have been actual swarthy, dark-skinned complexion people. So for you dumbass bug outs talking about, oh, well, they're Ashkenazi, they call themselves after the names of the lands they take over, man. You should already know better than this by now. No, Ashkenazi are not, the Ashkenazi so-called JEOOs, they're not from Japheth. That's just, they're still Edomites who come from Shem. But them coming from Shem doesn't really mean anything. They're still profane. They're still the wicked. They are strange from the womb. Point is, the Edomites. And thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. The only nation in the Bible that Yahweh Bashmi Al Shah is letting you know he's not giving any mercy to. And I just showed you that violence against Jacob. That's just one instance of violence against Jacob. And that's here on quote-unquote U.S. soil. All right? Red Summer. And there's also a secular expression called red mist when, like, you know, individuals get into a blood rage. Predominantly, you know, people that take steroids and stuff like that. But that's Esau all the time, man. Esau is his first place his mind, his spirit goes to is blood, shedding blood. Shedding B-O-O-O-D. Verse 11. And the day thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. So Esau was with the bullshit. When they saw Jerusalem getting sacked, or, you know, Israel falling to the enemies, Esau would come out of the woodworks and be with the bullshit. Because Esau's just a damn hater, man. Verse 12, but thou shouldest not looked, Salakia, but thou shouldest not looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You should have minded your damn business. Now the Lord's going to jack you up for being a fucking Karen. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. So you stole our gold and stuff out the temples, our silver, you stole all of our artifacts. Should have just minded your business, man. Verse 14, neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that remain in the day of distress. Okay? Now let me jump down. Let me get the point and I'm going to wrap it up. Verse 18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, the Lord hath spoken it. And they shall, and they of the south shall possess the mountain of Esau, and they of the plain of the Philistines, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Gilead. And the children of the and the children of this host, and of the captivity of this host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Zarephath, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Sepharad, shall possess the cities of the south. And saviors shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's. All right. And that's all I have for this epistle right here. Hopefully this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel, to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to our beloved Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, our beloved Lord and Savior, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors as always to the apostles, the elders, and the sincere Akim of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who we learn the truth from daily, whether you hear forbearance and citation as always to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, as well as the speckled bird among their number, which are the Hebrews, like foreigners scattered among the heathen that look like the heathen. Kwam Yasharala and Abba Babal. We almost out of here, Adawan Ratazah, and we got next Adawan Ratazah. Shema Yasha'ala Yahweh Alahayanawa Yahweh Achad. Shabbat Shalom.